Good day to all of you students. Today we are beginning the chapter of light. Children, this chapter is very important not only from class 10 point of view, but it is also important from class 12 point of view. In class 12, you will study this chapter in great detail. In this class also, you will study many fundamental concepts which you need to understand and carry with you as you go to 12th science. So let us begin with the simplest thing that you took up in class 8. We start from there. Maybe you studied about plane mirrors over there. First, in this chapter we will study about reflection, then we will study about refraction, and we will study about dispersion also somewhat in this chapter. Scattering also we will take up, but dispersion and scattering will be taken up in very brief. Reflection and refraction, yes, many fundamental concepts will be taught to you in this chapter itself, at this level itself. First, we see reflection from a plane surface, like a plane mirror that you use in your homes. Then reflection from curved surfaces, refraction from a plane surface, then refraction from a curved surface. Refraction from plane surface means like a plain glass window is there or a glass slab is there. Refraction from a curved surface will mean refraction from lenses, concave and convex. And similarly, reflection from curved surface means reflection from mirrors, curved and convex. I will show it to you when I take up the topic. So we are taking up the first topic today, reflection from a plane surface, that is a plane mirror. So whatever we did in class 8, let us brush up our knowledge from there. Children, what will be reflection? There will be two types of reflection. There will be regular reflection and there will be irregular reflection. Irregular reflection is also called diffused reflection. So what happens in the case of reflection, if there is any polished surface, if there is any polished smooth surface, so whenever light is falling on that surface, it is thrown back into the same medium. That process is called a process of reflection. So in reflection, whatever light energy is falling on the surface, it is thrown back into the same medium, into the medium from where the light was coming, and that process is called reflection of light. Reflection can take place in two ways. Supposing I am having a regular surface like this, if a beam of parallel rays is coming like this, so it all will go in a definite direction. This is regular reflection. Regular reflection. Then there will be irregular or diffused reflection. The surface is not smooth, it is not straight, it is curved like this. So if there is a parallel beam of light falling on this surface, all the rays won't go in the same direction. According to curvature, some may go like this, some may go like this, third one may go like this. So reflected rays don't have same direction, even though the incident rays are having same direction. So like this, these are the incident rays. These arrows are very important to make. And because the surface is not plane, it is curved. So after reflection, the rays may not follow the same path, the same direction. They are getting reflected in different directions. So this is the case of irregular reflection. Irregular reflection, or even we may even call it diffused reflection. Okay, so two types of reflection are there. We will concentrate only on this type of reflection. We encounter this type of reflection in our daily life. Supposing I am reading a book and light is falling on the pages of the book, so I cannot see my image in the pages, the image of my face in the pages of the book. But instead of book, there would have been mirror. Then I can see my image of the face in the mirror. But in the pages of the book, I cannot see the image of my face. So because the surface of the page is in this shape, it is not a smooth surface, it is not a polished surface. So whatever light is falling on my surface, when it is going to the pages, I am holding a book like this. So light comes on my face, it is reflected from my face to the pages of the book. From the pages, it is getting scattered in all the directions. Therefore, I cannot see the image of my face in the book. So, whenever if you look at a wall, you are not able to see the image of your face in the wall. That means whatever light from your face is falling on the wall, it is getting spread in all the directions, because the wall is not a smooth surface, not a polished surface, and therefore you cannot see the image of your face in the wall. But if there would have been a plain mirror hanging on the wall, you can see your image in the mirror, because that mirror is polished and therefore regular reflection is taking place from there, and therefore you can see the image of your face in the mirror on the wall. But on a plain wall, in any wall, you cannot see your face, image of the face, because of irregular or diffused reflection. So this was about regular reflection and irregular reflection. So children, how does a plain mirror form an image? Let us see. You must have studied, supposing this side is polished. So this is, I will hatch it like this. So from here if I see, it appears polished to me. So the mirror is like this, and if the object is over here, a point object, how an image is formed? One ray goes like this, perpendicular to the mirror. I take one ray, and you know the laws of reflection from class 8 if you have studied image formation. The laws are angle of incidence is angle of reflection. That is the first point. Angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. And second, the incident ray, the normal and the reflected ray, they are in same plane. We know that also. Angle of incidence equal to angle of reflection means what? Supposing this is a plane mirror, any line perpendicular to mirror will be called normal. So this is normal of the plane at this point. At this point, normal will be like this. At this point, normal will go like this. So normal means a line perpendicular to mirror at that point. A line perpendicular to mirror at that point. That is normal at that point. Because this is a plane mirror, all the normals are parallel to each other. But when you will see curved mirrors, the normals will not be parallel. We will talk about it in detail later on when we take up the case of curved mirrors. Right now understand these are normals at these points, P, Q, R points. Supposing this is normal 1, this is normal 2, and this is normal 3. So angle of incidence means what? Supposing a ray of light comes and strikes at point P, a ray coming like this. The angle between incident ray and the normal, this is called angle of incidence. So understand how do we calculate angle of incidence. Incident ray and the normal. Whatever angle is between them, that is called the angle of incidence. And then I draw the reflected ray. So this angle is called angle of reflection, angle between the reflected ray and the normal, that is angle of reflection. So the first law says I will be always equal to R. So children, please remember that I equal to R is based on a certain principle which is not mentioned in the textbook. How do we know I equal to R? Can we prove it theoretically? Yes, we can prove it theoretically also. In lab, when you will do practicals, you will always find I equal to R. That is okay. But can you prove it theoretically? Yes, children, we can prove it, but that is beyond the syllabus of the textbook. So please remember, this law that I equal to R can be proved using Fermat's least time principle. Rather, maximum laws of reflection or refraction can be derived using this concept that Fermat's least time principle always holds good. And what is that Fermat's least time principle? Fermat's least time principle says that if a ray of light wants to go from point X to point Y after reflection or after refraction, it will always take up that path which will take least time to travel. Therefore, Fermat's least time principle. So if a ray of light wants to go from point X to point Y after reflection, it will go along the path which will take least time. and therefore we prove that only if I is equal to r, then only the time is minimum. Otherwise, if you don't take I equal to r, if you take any other path, then the time taken is not least, it is not minimum. So I equal to r can be proved using Fermat's least time principle. That is one of the most fundamental laws of optics. Based on that only we are getting all these ones. So please remember, angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection, that we can derive on the basis of Fermat's least time principle. What is that principle? Light will take least time in going from x to y after reflection or refraction. It will go on such a path which will take least time to go from x to y, and to achieve that we will have to make these two angles equal, otherwise it cannot be least time. On any other path, the time will not be least. Please understand. So angle of incidence and angle of r, and incident ray, the normal ray and the reflected ray, they all are in the same plane, means they are on this whiteboard only. So it cannot happen that x is coming like this in the board and then reflected ray comes like this towards you. It cannot come out of the plane. So the normal, the incident ray and the reflected ray all are in one plane, they are coplanar. These are the two laws of reflection. So if I want to make the image of a plane, image from a plane mirror of a point object, I have taken up this one ray. At this point, what is the direction of normal? This only. Line perpendicular to mirror, that itself is the direction of normal. So incident ray going like this and normal also like this. So what is the angle between incident and normal? That is 0. Because they are in the same direction, incident and normal. So if I is 0, r has to be 0. R is the angle between normal and final ray. If angle is 0, that means this ray should go like this, then only this r will become 0. So reflected ray goes in the direction of normal again. So incident ray coming like this and will return like this. So please understand why reflected ray is going back in the same direction. Because in this case, angle of incidence and angle of reflection are both equal to 0. So one ray I get like this, going in this direction. Second ray, I can take this ray, and then at this point, this is the direction of normal. So this is angle of incidence. So maybe approximately this will be the angle of reflection, both appearing to be same. So you can see this is one reflected ray and this is another reflected ray. Both are diverging. I know if I extend them, they won't meet. So children, upon reflection, if two rays are not meeting actually, then the image formed is virtual, means actually it is not there. And if the reflected rays actually meet after reflection, then wherever they will meet, that will be the point of real image. So please understand the difference between real image and virtual image. When is virtual image formed and when is real image formed? To form an image, we need two rays, therefore we have drawn two rays. Always understand, whenever you want to have an image of an object, of a point object or extended object. Extended object means like this, a pen. Extended object, if I keep over here, so it will be nothing but a collection of many points. So what is extended object? It is collection of many points. That becomes extended object. Right now we are talking only of point object. So when rays after reflection don't actually meet, then they will form a virtual image. And if the rays after reflection actually meet, they will form a real image. So real image will be formed if the reflected rays actually meet. Virtual image will be formed if the reflected rays actually don't meet after reflection. So to make them meet, what do? I pull it backwards like this. This ray I extend backwards, so maybe it goes like this. And I pull this ray also backwards and they meet over here. So this becomes the position of image of this point. So this point will be seen over here. This is the point I want to make. How to get image from a plane mirror. Remember children, whenever you want to find an image, where is the location of image? You need two reflected rays in case of reflection, and 2 refracted rays in case of refraction. Always 2 rays are required. Therefore, I took only 2 rays. Wherever 2 rays that will be meeting, there will be the position of image. If rays are actually meeting, then it is a case of real image. If rays are not moving, not meeting, and we have to extend them backwards to make them meet, just like over here, then this is the case of virtual image. So this image is actually not there, but it is existing for us as a physicist. We will say virtual image is there. So what is a virtual image and what is the real image? Please understand the definition. Real image is formed when the rays will meet actually after reflection. And virtual image will be formed when the rays will actually not meet, but they will be extended to meet. Real image can be caught on a screen. Means on a screen the image can be formed. In case of virtual image, the image cannot be caught on a screen. What is the meaning of catching on screen? When I will teach you curved mirrors and lenses, I will show you how an image is formed and how it is not formed. Anyway, now you just remember that real image can be caught on a screen, virtual image cannot be caught on a screen, but that is not the definition. Definition of real images. A real image is formed when the rays after reflection actually meet, and virtual image is formed when the rays after reflection actually don't meet, they are extended to make them meet. Then we get a virtual image. Also from geometry we can prove that this distance is equal to this distance. This is object distance, distance from mirror, and this is image distance, distance from mirror. These two will be equal. So object distance equal to image distance. Let us start writing one by one the properties. So I gave you the laws and all that. Let us write the properties. So first property, that image is virtual, that I realize. Then second, object distance is equal to image distance. Then next is object height is equal to image height. When you stand before a plane mirror, do you find your height same or you find less or more? You find your height same. Therefore, object height is equal to image height. Then, image is laterally inverted. Laterally inverted means what? Supposing there is a mirror over here. So L will appear like this, P will appear like this, R will appear like this. Ulta ho gaya. If you stand in front of mirror, if you raise your right hand, you will see that image is raising the left hand. So that is called lateral inversion. Right side becomes left side. Here this circle was on right side, now it is appearing on left side. This was on right side of this vertical bar, now this horizontal bar is on the left side of the vertical bar. So right becomes left. That is called lateral inversion. The image is laterally inverted. Children, in English alphabets there are 26 letters. Let us think which letters will not suffer lateral inversion. I think A will appear A only. B will be inverted. C also inverted. E also, F also, G, H will remain same. I will remain same. J, K, L, M. M will appear same. O will appear same. P, Q, R, S. T will appear same. U also same. V, W, X and Y. Y if I write like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 letters of English alphabet will not suffer lateral inversion in plane mirror. So image is laterally inverted. So that is about properties of image formed by plane mirror. Remember, plane mirror will form always virtual image. Actually it will not be there. It cannot be caught on screen. Children, I want to ask you one question over here. We are saying that When virtual image is formed, actually it is not there. Now just think, when you stand before a mirror, you are standing over here, your image is here. This is the virtual image. So actually it is not there. I told you virtual image cannot be caught on screen. Your retina is also a sort of screen only. So when I say virtual image cannot be caught on screen, and if you are able to see this image, that means this image was first formed on your retina and then only you are able to see yourself. We told that virtual image cannot be caught on screen, only real image can be caught on screen. Your retina is also a type of screen only. Whatever image is formed on the retina, that is processed by the brain and then we understand what we are seeing. So you are able to see this image, that means this is caught on screen and we are saying it's a virtual image. How it is happening, just think. Actually this shouldn't happen. If this is a virtual image, then this should not be caught on the screen, but this should not be formed on the retina, then you should not be able to see this image. Then how come we are seeing it? Just think over it, children. Just think over it. So please pause and copy the properties of plane mirror. Laws of reflection already I told you. Children, what is the difference between image and shadow? Let us think. Image and shadow. What is the difference between image and shadow? So see children, image will be formed if the light rays from the object reach the screen. So if I am able to see something, I am able to see the trees or the buildings, or I am able to see you, whatever. The light rays from your body or from this wall or from the trees are reaching my retina and then image is being formed. So light rays are reaching the screen from the object and then image is being formed on the screen. Whereas in case of shadow, the object is blocking the light rays and they are not reaching the screen, means ground. Supposing sun is overhead around 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, you will see the shadow of your hand. So why you are seeing shadow? Because your hand is blocking the sun rays from reaching the ground and then you see the shadow of your hand. So this is the object which is obstructing the sun rays, the light rays to go to the ground, and therefore you can see shadow of this hand on the ground. So shadow is formed when the light rays are obstructed by the object, and image is formed when the light rays from the object reach the screen. So remember, when you look at an X-ray, supposing somebody has got a fracture and you see the X-ray sheet, the X-ray sheet is an image or shadow. It is actually a shadow, because supposing my hand is fractured, then the doctor will take X-ray of my hand like this and I will be able to see my bones in the X-ray sheet. So what is happening? The X-rays are coming from that side, my hand is blocking that, the bones of my hand are blocking X-rays and not allowing to go to sheet. So there the shadow of bones is formed. Therefore X-ray sheet is not the image of my bones, it is the shadow of my bones, because my bones will obstruct the X-rays. They won't allow to reach the black screen of the X-ray sheet. So what we look at X-ray is not an image but a shadow, because the rays are blocked by the object, they are not reaching from the object to the screen. So you understand the difference between the image and shadow. Light rays from object should reach the screen, then it's an image. If the light rays are blocked by the object and not allowed to reach the screen, then the shadow of the object will be formed on the screen. Okay. Fine children, let us see some more things about plane mirror. Supposing there is a plane mirror like this, and a ray of light is coming like this, and naturally this will be the normal. This is the normal. This is the angle of incidence. It will go like this. So this angle will be equal. Supposing this is theta, so this also will be theta. If this mirror wouldn't have been there, then my ray of light would have gone like this. But now it is going like this. So if the mirror wouldn't have been there, then ray of light was coming like this, it would have traversed further like this. But now it is going like this. So it has taken a turn of this much. This is called angle of deviation. Angle of deviation means by how much amount your reflected ray has deviated from its actual path. From the actual path, it has taken a turn like this by this much amount. So this is your angle of deviation. Supposing I call angle of deviation by delta. These are all Greek alphabets, that is okay. I know this is a linear pair, total linear pair. And one line total linear pair. So theta plus delta will be 180. So 2 theta plus delta, that will be 180. So delta will be 180 minus 2 theta. So if theta is the angle of incidence, then what is the angle of deviation? It is 180 minus 2 theta. Like this we find the angle of deviation in case of plane mirror. If the angle of incidence theta, then angle of deviation will be 180 minus 2 theta. For example, if theta is 40 degree, supposing ray is incident at 40 degree angle, so what will be delta? 180 minus 2 into 40 degree, 180 minus 80, that will be 100 degree. So remember this formula. Theta is the angle of incidence, delta is the angle of deviation. Please understand, children, this is again a mirror. This is the normal. This is the angle of incident ray I1 coming like this at an angle theta. So this will be the reflected ray R at an angle theta. Arrow is very important. At least one arrow should be shown to show the direction of propagation. If this line will shift by an angle alpha, if the incident light deviates by angle alpha, suppose the incident light comes like this now, I dash, so it has shifted by how much angle? Alpha angle. So now what is the angle between normal and incident? Theta plus alpha, total angle. So what will be angle between normal and reflected ray? That also will be theta plus alpha. This is the new reflected ray. Theta plus alpha, so here theta plus alpha also, so this will be how much alpha? So if the incident ray moves by angle alpha, reflected also moves by the same angle alpha. Okay? So if the incident ray shifts by an angle alpha, then reflected ray also moves by an angle alpha, both in opposite direction. This is moving in anti-clockwise direction and this is moving in clockwise. This is anti-clockwise, see, against the motion of clock. This is against the motion of clock, anti-clockwise, and it is moving like this, clockwise. This is clockwise movement. So if the incident ray moves anti-clockwise by a certain angle, then reflected ray moves in the opposite direction, clockwise, by an amount alpha. Similarly, if the incident ray moves like this will move like this. Direction of movement will be opposite, that we can very well see. If this is the mirror and this is the normal. Let us see if we shift the mirror by a certain angle alpha. Now we only move the incident ray by angle alpha. Now I change the position of mirror by alpha. That means if this is the mirror, I tilt the mirror like this by an angle alpha. Understanding? Earlier mirror like this, now I change the mirror like this. So now my blue line shows the new position of mirror. This is M and this is M dash. New position of mirror. Think like this. So this was normal for the mirror. Now the mirror has become like this. So new normal will be perpendicular to mirror, that we know. So normal goes like this. This will become new normal. Clear? Earlier, supposing my incident ray was coming like this. Incident ray was coming down like this. Don't look at blue lines now. Only look at this first figure. So if this was an incident ray and normal like this, what was the angle between them? 0 degree. So what will be the direction of reflected ray? It will be the same direction, because angle of incidence equal to angle of reflection. The incident ray coming like this, perpendicular, it is in direction of normal. So what is the angle between incident ray and normal? That is 0. So angle of incidence is 0, so angle of reflection also 0. So my reflected ray will go back like this. I am drawing separate only to show you the difference, but actually they will be on one line only. Now I change the mirror, I shift it like this. I change it by angle alpha. So mirror has been turned by an angle alpha like this. This is alpha angle. But nothing has changed for us. Incident ray is still falling like this. I am holding a torch still like this. Only the mirror has changed. This I am not changing. So normal will change because mirror has changed. Incident ray is still like this. If this is alpha, then this also will be alpha. Okay, you can make out that. See, this is 90, this is normal and this is mirror. So normal and mirror, this angle will be 90 total. If this is alpha, this will be how much? 90 minus alpha. And this normal and this mirror are perpendicular. So if this is 90 minus alpha, this has to be alpha. That means now in the new position, angle between incident ray and normal is alpha. Incident is still falling like this. Now my normal has become like this. Normal and mirror, they are perpendicular. So if this angle is alpha, this will be 90 minus alpha. Total should be 90. If this is 20, this will be 70. If this is 30, this will be 60. How are we getting answer? By taking 90 minus alpha. So if this angle is alpha, this will be 90 minus alpha. And this is mirror and this is normal. So these two also perpendicular. So if this is 90 minus alpha, this has to be alpha. Then see, alpha plus this will be 90. And this plus alpha also 90. So if this is alpha, this is 90 minus alpha, and therefore this is alpha. So when I shift the mirror, normal becomes this, incident ray still like this. The angle between incident ray and normal is how much? Alpha. So what will be the new direction of reflected ray? Angle between incident and normal is alpha. So reflected ray should go at an angle of alpha. This is new reflected ray at an angle alpha. Earlier reflected ray was like this, and now reflected ray like this. By how much angle it is changing? Alpha plus alpha, 2 alpha. So if mirror moves by an angle alpha, the reflected ray moves by angle 2 alpha. Earlier reflected was like this. This was reflected ray. See, incident ray and reflected ray went like this. Now the reflected ray is like this. So when I change the mirror by an angle alpha, what is the angle between the old reflected ray and new reflected ray? Alpha plus alpha. How much? 2 alpha. So if the mirror moves, rotates by an angle alpha, the reflected ray rotates by angle 2 alpha. So if I summarize over here, angle of deviation delta is 180 minus 2 theta, where theta is angle of incidence. If incident ray rotates by angle alpha, anti-clockwise, then reflected ray rotates by alpha in clockwise direction. If mirror rotates by angle alpha in clockwise direction, see, this was clockwise movement, then reflected ray rotates by angle 2 alpha in clockwise direction, matlab in same direction. These 3 points we have seen. Please pause and copy, children. Please pause and copy. Okay, let me see which other points I have to cover. This I told you. Yes, now see, children, angle between, if there are two plane mirrors with me and I keep them at a certain angle, then how many images can be formed? That also you studied in class 8. If there are two plane mirrors like this, theta is the angle between them, and if a point object is kept over here, then how many images will be formed? So children, please understand, number of images is supposing n. If this angle is theta, I will first find out m is equal to 360 upon theta. This number I will find out. Now the first point is, if m is odd, then number of images will be equal to m. Odd only, whatever is n. But if this comes out to be even, if m is even, then n will be m minus 1. That means number of images will be always odd, because see, if it is odd, then nothing changes. But it is even, then we subtract 1 to make it odd. Let us think what we are saying. This will be theta, this will be m, and then it will be the number of images. So supposing theta is 10 degree, 15 degree, say 12 degree, 15 degree, 20 degree, 30 degree, 40, and 30, 36, then we can have 40, then we can have 45 also, then 60, then we can have 90, 120, something like this. So let us see, children. What will be on 360 upon 10? This will be 36. 360 upon 12, that will be 30. 360 upon 15, so 15 into 2 will be 30. So this will become, if there was 30, so 360 upon 30 will be 12, so it will be 24. Here it will be 20. 360 upon 20, 18. 360, this will be 12, this will be 10, this will be 9. 360 upon, this will be 8, this will be 6, this will be 4, this will be 3. So I told you, if m is odd, then n equal to m. So wherever it is odd, here it is odd, so 9 only. 3 to 3 only. And whenever m is even, we subtract 1. So this will become 35, this will become 29, this will become 23, this will become 19, 17, 11, 9, 7, 5 and 3. So far it is okay. But many more things you need to understand. Please pause and copy, children. Please pause and copy this about the number of images. This formula you copy. So please pause and copy. Let us see actually what is happening, children. Supposing there are two mirrors kept at right angles, like this. So what is the angle between them? 90. So if an object is here exactly at the angle bisector, so if this is x, this also is x. Supposing he is standing at equal distance, so this is the object. Its image will be formed over here at same distance, I1. In this mirror, the image will be formed over here, I2. Then this mirror will look at this image as object, and therefore another image will be formed. And this mirror will be able to see this object, and then another image will be formed. And then another image will be coming over here, somewhere over here, I3. So please understand, the image formed, this I1 and I2. This mirror will be able to see this I2 in this mirror, and this mirror will be able to see this image, and so this will form image of this and this will form image of this, and both will coincide over here because this is a particular case. So therefore I1, I2, I3, three images will be formed. Here I will explain to you why the images will coincide. We will come to it. So first please understand object distance, object distance, object distance, object distance. So I1 and I2 are formed. Now this image will act as object for this mirror, and this image will act as object for this mirror, and this will form image of this, and this mirror will form image of this, and they will be coinciding. So this will be called I3. And what will be the position of images, children? What you have to do? You have to consider this the point of intersection of mirror as a center. Take this much as radius and draw a circle. So circle will come like this. So all the images approximately will lie on this circle. Please understand. Where will the images lie due to formation of two mirrors inclined at certain angle? They will be formed on a circle whose center is the point of intersection of mirrors, and the radius is distance of the object from the point of intersection of mirrors. So take this as center and take radius and draw a circle. So all the images I2, I3, I1, they will lie on this circle. So therefore when angle is 90, we will have only three images. 360 upon 90, that is 4. 360 upon theta formula, but because 4 is even, so minus 1 kar dein, it becomes 3. So why it has become 3? Because these two images, image of I2 and I1, image of I2 from this mirror and image of I1 from this mirror, they coincided. So it became 3. And where will the images lie? That I told you. Now children, what you have to think? At what angles the images will lie if you want to see that? So this object is kept at the angle bisector exactly between the two mirrors. This is 90, so this is 45 degree angle, and this is also 45 degree angle. So this object is kept at 45 degree angle, 45 degree angle. So you write here 45 degree and 45 degree. You mark the angles of this object from both the mirrors. So this is the angle from first mirror M1, and this is the angle from second mirror M1 and M2. This is first mirror, this is second mirror. Now what is the angle between the two mirrors? 90. So you add 90 to this and add 90 to this, the total angle between the two mirrors. So we add 90 and 90. This becomes 135 and this becomes 135. Again you add 90, 90 to both of them. So 135 plus 90, 225. This we cannot take because this angle is exceeding 180 degree. Matlab no mirror will form an image at an angle more than 180 degree. So whenever your angle will cross 180 or it will reach 180, don't consider. So this is gone, and here also 135 plus 90, that will be 225. So it is gone. Now you can see, therefore, first image will be at 45 degree angle, second image at 45 degree angle, third one at 135, and fourth one at 135. So if you start seeing from here, so this was 45 degree angle. Understanding? You take this was also 45 degree angle. So 45 and 45. This image for this mirror at an angle of 135. This image for this mirror at an angle of 135. So from M1 at an angle of 45 and 135. From M2 at an angle of 45 and 135. From M1, this was first image at an angle of 45. The second image at an angle of 135 from M1. For M2 also angles are 45 and 135. So from M2 angle of 45 degree, this image. Then 135, so rotate like this, 135, I reach over here. So you would say, sir, here 4 images are coming, and you said only 3 images are formed. So how to check whether this image is coinciding? The image, because of both the mirrors, is coinciding. How to check? So whatever final answers you got, add both of them. So final image of first mirror plus final image of second mirror plus angle, is it 360? Check that much. Final image of first mirror plus final image of second mirror plus angle between the two mirrors. Is it 360? If it is 360, then the last two images are coinciding. This is the way to check whether the last images are coinciding or not. So final image due to first mirror is 135, here also 135. 135 plus 135, 270. 270 plus 90, 360. Yes, that is 360. That means the last two images are coinciding. And therefore we don't consider them as two different, we consider them as only one image, and therefore three images will be formed. Please understand in deep. If yes, then final image of M1 will be final image of M2. Final image of M1 should be at less than 180 degree angle, and final image of M2 also should be taken at less than 180 degree angle. That means if we keep on adding, as soon as the angle crosses 180 degree, you have to stop, means you don't have to consider these images. So this is the way to look at the angle at which the images will be formed. So if I draw a circle, supposing, so this is first mirror and this is second mirror, I know the angles from M1 45 degree and 135 degree. So from M1 I will take 45 degree and 135 degree. So 45 and 135. From M2 also 45 degree and 135 degree. This will be 135. This will be 45. So here also this will be 45 degree and this will be 135 degree. So I come to know this point and this point. What will be the location of images? That also I am teaching the children in deep. How to identify. Please pause and copy. I will teach you one more example. Supposing angle between the mirrors is 60 degree. Supposing the angle is 60 degree. The object is kept over here, exactly center. So this angle is 30 degree, this angle is also 30 degree. So from M1 angle is 30, from M2 also angle is 30. So we write over here M1 and M2. Angle from first mirror is 30 degree and from second also 30 degree. What is the total angle? 60. So I keep on adding 60 like this and like this. 60. 30 plus 60 is 90. 30 plus 60 90. Again add 60. So 90 plus 60 150. 90 plus 60 150. Again add 60. So 150 plus 60 210. We cannot take it. This also 210. We cannot take it. So this is the final image of first mirror. This is the final image of second mirror. Let us check Fm1 plus Fm2 plus theta. Is it 360? 150 plus 150, 300, and angle between them 60, 360, yes. Therefore, these two images will coincide. Therefore, Fm1 and Fm2 are equal. Final image of first mirror, final image of second mirror, they are same points. So we were thinking one image, second image, third image, 4, 5, 6 images, but no, there will be only 5 images because last two will be coinciding. Let us take up one more example. Please copy, children. And where they will be formed, children, as I told you, if these are the two mirrors, M1 and M2, this is the object, this angle is 30 and 30, this is the object, we will draw a circle like this. So what are the angles? From M1, it is 30 degree, so I go to 30 degree angle. Then how much angle? 90 degree. From M1, 90 degree. Similarly from M2, 30 degree angle. So 30 degree angle here. Then from M2, 90 degree. So maybe over here. From M2 perpendicular. From M2 perpendicular. This angle is full 90. So this is one image, this is second image, this is third image, this is fourth image. And how many we are getting? 1, 2, 3, 4. And we were saying that last two images will be coinciding because, okay, 150 and 150 also. So from M1, 150. So this is 90 and 60, somewhere over here. And from M2 also 150. So this will be 90 and 60. So this will be Fm1 equal to Fm2. They will be coinciding because we checked. So totally how many images? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I showed you the angles. This is the angle how much? 30 degree. From which mirror? From M2. This was 90 degree from M2. This was 30 degree from M1. This from M1. And this is how much angle? 150 degree from M1 and M2 both. We think like this. And this way we plot the positions of the images. Please copy, children. Please copy. I will write for you. Now children, supposing the angle between mirrors is 60 degree, this is M1 and this is M2. The object is kept in such a way that this angle is 20 degree and this angle is 40 degree. Total angle is 60 degree, the theta. So now the object is not kept at angle bisector. Please remember. Now the object is not at angle bisector. So I write over here M1 and M2. What are the first images at an angle of 20? From M1 20 angle, so I write 20 over here. From M2 40 degree. What is the total angle? 60 over here. I add. So 20 plus 60, 80 and 40 plus 60, 100. Then we again add 60. 80 plus 60, 100 plus 60, 160. Again we try to add 160 plus 60, 220 and this is 200. They are exceeding 180, so we don't take them. So this is the final image of second mirror and this is the final image of first mirror at 140 and 160. Let us check FM1 plus FM2 plus theta, whether it is 360 or not. So 140 plus 160, 300 and 60, 360, yes. Therefore FM1 will be equal to FM2. These two images will coincide. And therefore, what will be the number of images formed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We will have 5 images because last two images are coinciding. 140, 80 plus 60, 140, 100 plus 60, 160, 140 plus 160, 300, 300 plus angle between mirrors 60, that is 360. Therefore, the final images will coincide. And you can draw on the circle. You can draw on the circle like this. Okay, this is one mirror M1. This is another mirror M2. So from M1, what are the angles? 20 degree from M1. Then 100 degree from M1. So this will be 90, somewhere over here. 100 degree from M1. 140 degree means somewhere over here. This is from M1. 140 degree from M1. From M2, 40 degree, 80 degree from M2, and 160 means over here. So 160 degree from M2, they will coincide. So number of images will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 images will be formed. So here also what number of images and what will be the positions, I told you that. Okay children, please pause and copy. Please pause and copy. Okay. Supposedly, we take angle between two mirrors as 120 degree. M2 and M1. This angle is 120 degree. So I write 120 later on. Supposing this is the object. This angle is 50 degree and this angle is 70 degree. So it is not kept in between. Total angle theta will be 120 degree. If I want to locate the positions, what do I do? M1 and M2. M1 is at how much angle? 50 degree. And this is at 70 degree. We will add how much? 120. 50 plus 120, 170. 70 plus 120, 190. So I don't take this. because it is exceeding 180. So therefore, this is the final image of mirror 1 and this is the final image mirror of mirror 2. So mirror 2 forms at 70 and 170 and mirror 1 forms at only 50 degree, because then 70 plus 120 would have been 190. That won't happen. This is exceeding 180 degree. So mirror 1 will form only at 50 degree, mirror 2 will form at 270 and 170. So 3 images we will get. And let us check whether the FM1 plus FM2 plus angle is at 360 or not. If that happens, then final images will be coinciding. Let us check 50 plus 170, 220. 220 plus 120, 240. So 2 images are not coinciding. So these 2 are different images. So total images 1, 2 and 3. So you draw a circle. Here is M1. M2 is at 120 angle. So M2 is like this. Angle 120. From M1 at 50 degree. The 50 degree means over here. So 50 degree from M1. From M2 at what angles? 70. From M2 at 70 means this is already 120 plus 70, 190 plus somewhere over here. So this is the how much image? 70 degree from M2 sorry, and from M2 at 170. So somewhere over here. This is already 120. 120 and 170 will be 290. So 290 means somewhere over here. So this will be 170 from M2. They won't coincide, these 2 images. So we are getting totally 1, 2 and 3. So 1 at, this is the mirror actually. So 1 is over here, 1 is over here, 1 is over here. 3 images we get. 1, 2 and 3. I showed you the position also. These are the mirrors. I showed you the positions of mirrors. Where will they be located? I told you. So if you don't remember the formula 360 upon theta, whether to subtract 1 or not, go by this method. You will get the answer, children. Okay? And please remember, children, please pause and copy. See, if 360 upon theta is not an integer, supposing 360 upon 25 comes, supposing the angle between mirrors is 25 degree, then what will be m 360 upon theta? This won't be an integer, 360 upon 25. If I divide it, it will become 25 into 360. So 25 will go 12 times and 14 times 350, I think. Yes, 25 12s are 300, 14s are. So 14 point something it will come. So this is approximately 14 point something dot dot dot, 14 point A, B, C, D. So images cannot be 14 and a half or 14.2, 14.3. So we will write number of images will be 14. Think like this. Don't write 14.2 means 15. No, take complete number of images. Supposing theta is 70 degree, then what will be m? 360 upon 70. So that will be 36 upon 7. That will be 5 point A, B, C, D, something like this. So what will be the number of images? That will be 5. You have to think like this. Okay, please copy this also. When the ratio of 360 and theta, it is not an integer, then what is to be done? These 2 examples I have given you to get the number of images. Then see, children, 2 perpendicular mirrors are a very interesting case. 2 perpendicular mirrors. See, if you take perpendicular mirrors M1 and M2. So this is one mirror, this angle is 90 and this is another mirror. If a ray of light is incident at this mirror at any angle, if a ray of light is incident at this mirror at any angle, supposing theta, this theta can be any angle, 10 degree, 20, 30, 40, whatever. This is the first normal. So this angle is 90 minus theta, angle between normal and incident. So okay, let me call this as theta and this as 90 minus theta. So I say the angle of incidence is theta. The ray will go like this at an angle of theta. Angle of incidence equal to angle of reflection. The ray goes like this. It strikes this mirror over here. This is second normal. Children, this is theta, so this will be 90 minus theta, alright, bigger for you to understand. This is 90 and 90 minus theta, right angle triangle. So this has to be theta. So that theta plus 90 minus theta will be 180. So this becomes theta. This is right angle, normal perpendicular to mirror. So if this is theta, this will be 90 minus theta. That I can know. So this ray is making how many angle with normal? 90 minus theta. So reflected ray has to go like this and making an angle of 90 minus theta. That we know. So now children, if you think like this was M1, this was M2, second mirror. Please see nicely. This line I draw. This is at 90 minus theta. This line I draw. So it is like this, and this ray which I have drawn, I take this as transversal, supposing. So I don't see this angle now. These two lines are there, incident ray and reflected ray. This is reflected ray final, this is incident ray initial. So if I see this reflected ray and incident ray, please concentrate. How much is this angle over here? Theta plus theta, that is 2 theta. How much is this total angle over here? This is 90 minus theta plus 90 minus theta. This will be 180 minus 2 theta. And now if you total, it will be how much? 180 degree. That means if these are two lines and this is the transversal, the sum of interior angles is 180 degree. Therefore the lines are parallel. You must have studied in geometry in class 9. If two lines are there and there is a transversal, these are two interior angles on the same set of transversal. If their total is 180, then lines have to be parallel. That you know the property. That means what, children? What have we learned in a case of two perpendicular mirrors? In whatever direction incident light will come, the reflected ray will always go parallel to this. This is a very, very important property of two perpendicular mirrors. At whatever angle be the light incident, the reflected ray will always go parallel to it. We have proved theoretically. And children, when we have three, I have shown only two mirrors over here. If we have three mirrors, like three walls of the room in your hall or whatever, three walls like this wall and the floor, or maybe this wall and the ceiling, three perpendicular walls, if we take joint at some point or at line, then such construction of three mutually perpendicular mirrors is called a cubical mirror or cubical corner mirror. And you know, when mirrors are at right angles, whatever is the direction of incident ray, reflected ray will always go parallel. Children, using this property of perpendicular mirrors, cube corner mirrors. Cube corner means three mirrors arranged on the corner of a cube. Or cubical mirrors also we call them. Cubical mirrors or a cube corner mirror. Cube corner mirrors means three mutually perpendicular mirrors. We know that if a ray of light will strike at any point in any direction, it will come back in the same direction upon being reflected by the property. So such cube corner mirrors or such cubical mirrors were put on the surface of moon when Neil Armstrong had gone to moon with his friend. They had taken a 2 square feet, one sheet was taken, and on this sheet 100 cubical mirrors were put like this. Cube corner mirrors were put, three mutually perpendicular mirrors. Why they were put like this? Before leaving the surface of moon, the Sea of Tranquility where they landed, that spot is called Sea of Tranquility. They left these cubical mirrors because we wanted to measure a distance of moon from earth. Now how to measure? These are cubical mirrors kept on the surface of moon. We will send a laser beam from earth. In whatever direction it strikes the mirror on the moon, it will get reflected and come back to us because it is coming back in the same direction. So many mirrors are there on the surface of moon. 100 mirrors I had placed in different directions. I throw one light, it will strike any one mirror and it will come back in the same direction towards me because the mirrors are perpendicular. If the mirrors are not perpendicular, then if a light is incident like this, it may go like this and it will go in some other direction. It will not come back to me. See, the angle of incidence equal to angle of reflection. Here also I equal to R, but incident ray coming like this, getting reflected and then going back in the same direction, other direction. So if the angle between two mirrors is not 90, then the reflected ray will not go back in the same direction. But if angle is 90, it will go back in the same direction. And therefore, when I throw a beam of light, laser light, it will go strike the moon surface, the mirror over there, and come back to me in the same direction. So we will see how much time the light has taken to come back. So we are throwing a laser light. We know that speed of light is 3 lakh kilometer per second. 3 lakh kilometer per second. This is the speed of light. I will calculate the time. I send the laser beam, it comes back. I will come to know what is the time taken. T I will come to know. So this is the earth and this is the moon. D is the distance between moon and earth. This is the earth and moon. Here there are mirrors kept. So light will go and come back. How much distance it will travel? 2D. Speed is equal to distance upon time. So speed 3 lakhs is equal to distance how much? 2D. Going and coming 2D distance upon time. Time we will calculate. We will bring this time over here, divide by 2. We will come to know distance of moon from earth. At different points of the year we can come to know what is the distance of moon from earth. And every time the distance remains the same, that means earth is moving in a circular orbit around the earth. So you came to know about cubical mirrors, very important application. Then you must have heard about periscope, children. Periscope is used by navy ships. It is using the concept of plane mirrors. You should know how plane mirrors are helpful to us. Just now I gave you one very interesting example. How did we keep cubical mirrors on surface of moon, and we came to know the distance of moon from earth precisely. So in a periscope, supposing this is the surface of sea and there is a submarine sailing over here, it wants to see if any ship is coming on the surface. So this submarine comes out with a periscope like this. So this is a submarine over here. So we make a periscope like this, and it is like this. Here mirrors are kept and here mirrors are kept. So ray will come like this. It will go like this, it will again get reflected, and people can here see what is on the surface of the sea. So using a periscope, we can find out, using the concept of reflection. We keep the mirrors at 45-degree angle, and so the rays go like this. In kaleidoscope, if you have seen, where 3 mirrors are kept making an equilateral triangle, and we insert some colored glass pieces and then we rotate, then we are able to see multiple images. So that is again based on the concept of multiple images when an object is kept between 2 mirrors at a certain angle. So over there 3 mirrors are kept equally inclined 60 degree, 60 degree, 60 degree, and we can see multiple images based on the concept of images, multiple images formed between 2 mirrors when an object is kept between the 2 mirrors. Then let me see if any other thing is there. Okay, this I told you. Okay, fine. So children, this was about the mirrors, plane mirrors. For class 10, I only need to tell you this much, but when you come to class 12, there will be at least 10 to 12 videos on the concept of plane mirror itself. In class 10, I am finishing off only in one video. Thank you children, I hope you have revised all the concept of class 8 and got much more knowledge. Thank you and God bless you.